I don't know if it's just me, but I'm feeling a little edgy at the moment. Sober, but edgy. Maybe it's the brown suit and the branding. I don't know, Mr. Speaker. But, you know, I do want to talk about how lucky we are in New Zealand, Mr. Speaker, to live in this great country, a mature democracy, where the big parties can come together. That is, you know, Labour and National on big issues, and we can agree. We can get cross-party consensus on things like nuclear and our anti-nuclear policy, like internationally free trade. And it's been very pleasing to see this week that on a core plank of really the government's policy and success, we've come together, because Phil Goff has made it very clear indeed what a great Prime Minister we have in John Key. What a great Prime Minister we have. And he said, look, we can learn a lot. We can learn a lot from this guy. And I agree with Phil Goff. John Key is a great leader. He is a great Prime Minister. Why is that? What is it that's making Phil Goff look to him? It could be something to do with the sort of 54-33 lead, about 21 percentage points, 21 probably good reasons why Phil Goff is feeling a little down at the moment. 54-8's another figure we could go with, but that's a bit mean. But of course, I agree with what we've heard from Paula Bennett. We're talking about someone who's trying to reinvent themselves, getting out on the Triumph motorbike, trying it with the big red bus. But, Mr. Speaker, let's give this guy a bit of advice from the National Party. You need a bit more than a big boys' toys campaign to be leader of an opposition that's doing very well. And I think, you know, we've heard a lot actually in this debate about drip. And I'm not talking, Paul Quinn, I'm not talking about the declaration on the rights of Indigenous people. I'm not talking about something of only symbolic effect. I'm talking...
What are you talking about?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm talking about the Leader of the Opposition, Phil Goff. What does DRIP stand for? D for don't, R for really, I for ideas, P for polls. Phil, I don't really have any idea what to do about the polls, Goff, Mr. Speaker. Phil, I don't really have any idea what to do about the polls, Goff. That's all right, Phil, because neither does anyone in the Labour Party. If they did, you wouldn't be the leader for very long. And I think what we've got here in DRIP is more than a policy, more than something symbolic. It's actually a condition that could be with the Labour Party for quite some time yet. Mr. Speaker, they may have DRIP, they may have, I really don't have any idea what to do about the polls for some time yet. Of course, I could be wrong. It could, well, they probably are. As I say, they're not really sure which DRIP to replace with the current DRIP. But there are other things it could stand for. Devastated, really, at how invincible the Prime Minister is.
Yeah, that could be it.
Devastated, really, at how invincible the Prime Minister is. I, of course, could stand for infallible or all sorts of other things, but it's clear that in the Labour Party we do have some drips. I mean, I don't want to be cruel, Mr. Speaker, because I've certainly already made the point that it's good that there's cross-party consensus on these things. But, of course, some of Labour's allies, the Standard blog, a well-known left-wing propagandists, have been getting in on the act. They have a recent blog, I think in today's blog, call in Malcolm Tucker, we've got a live one here. Phil Goff didn't ask, they go on, he's too busy heaping praise on John Key, calling him a good politician, saying he deserves, quote, credit where credit's due. One News asks if Mr. Goff is losing his marbles. 3 News wonders if he's voting National in 2011. Well, that's a very fair question. Me, I wonder if he's angling for a job at the Herald. So that's that blog. And we see quite clearly, Mr. Speaker, a Labour Party that is adrift, that's a rudderless ship, if you like, on the ocean of politics, while in the other corner, in the National Party, we're not worrying about whether we're retro, whether we're cheeky, edgy, sober, futuristic, any of those things. Actually, we're just getting on with the business of running this country. We're a party that has a credible plan, that has a plan for the future, for the economy of this country, that wants to take this country forward. And, you know, if I could give Phil Goff as a first termer some advice about what to do, actually it would be to emulate John Key, actually to get out and talk to people and do things in a straightforward... Actually, I'm letting the secret out, aren't I?
The time for the...